What's up guys, Dark Alley here. Today we're continuing the series on measuring sniper rifle bullet drop. We're going through each sniper rifle. Now that we've already compared them all on this wall stock, we're going through each rifle one at a time, modding them, and I'm also adding that to the graph. You'll see a combined graphic a couple times throughout this video, comparing what rifle drops to where, as opposed to, stock or unmodded, or rather stock or modded, and comparing them against one another. If you haven't seen any of the videos in this series, be sure to check out the first video. It's all one long series playlist, so you can go through and watch each one. Or at least check out the first video in the playlist. I'll put a link to that down in the description. Now, for most of you, though, my subscribers, you already know what we're doing here, and you're probably eager to see what the next rifle is, and I think today we are doing the G28. I'm kind of been going in no particular order, but I've gotten so many requests, well, for all of them, frankly. But I think the G28 is probably one of the ones I've gotten the most suggestions for over the most amount of time. Now, one kind of fun off-topic thing I wanted to say is, while we mod this rifle, I was thinking about buying a new computer recently. I really need one for the good of my channel, for productivity and everything else. It would simply, I need a new computer, and that's what I was gonna. That's what I've been planning on buying. I was looking to get in a new one this week. But then earlier today I was replying to a comment on a video, and I mentioned, just off topic, offhand, I mentioned, man, I would love to have an AR-15 one of these days. And I've always, guys, you understand, I've wanted one for like 10 years, but I just never seem to have the money. And then the thought struck me this morning, what if instead of buying a new computer, I just dealt with the one I have and bought an AR-15 instead? So I'm going to leave that up to you guys. I'm going to ask you guys, what do you think I should do? Given the opportunity, get a decent gaming machine, or get a kit and build my own AR-15, which is the way I plan to do it, because it'd just be cheaper and I have the know-how and the tools. So what do you guys think? I'll leave that up to you. Well, I won't totally leave it up to you. I will make the decision ultimately in the end, but I want to know what you guys think. So let's go ahead and get started with this test. We got us the G28. It's totally stock with the ACOG scope, and the first thing I always want to do is just check and make sure that it's centered with all the scopes, because some of these, well, we're measuring all the rifles with the T5XI because we know that that scope is square on all of them. However, I like to go through these anyway, just for some information for you guys, because not all the scopes are precise. Zeroed, you could say, with all the weapons. I don't want to use the word zeroed necessarily, because then people say, well, how do you zero, this and that? And of course, you can't adjust the scopes in this game. When I say that, what I mean is, does the rifle hit dead on with the scope? For instance, we found out the, which one was it, guys? Was the Dragunov? I think it was the Dragunov, was off-center with almost all the scopes. It's kind of disappointing. So let's move on down to the G28. We already know how this is going to be, but this is the G28 rifle. Let's see how good it works with the G28 scope. Get this out of the way pretty quick. It's probably going to shoot right at the top of the crosshairs. Yeah, see, it shoots at the top of the crosshairs. That's not much difference here at, what, like 30 meters from the wall. If you stretch that out over the 350 meters we will be shooting at, and it's actually a difference of a couple feet. It gets way, way off. That said, you can still totally use this scope, but you got to keep that in mind. It's going to appear to have much, much different bullet drop than it actually has. Let's go ahead, and someone suggested try the red dot scope. Boy, I hadn't thought of that. Is it... Okay, so it looks like the bottom scope, let's move closer. It looks like the bottom scope is actually zeroed for the red dot. Or is it shooting above that too? Take this for what you will, guys, but it looks like it's zeroed more for the red dot. That said, though, you're only going to be using the red dot at super close range, where it's not going to matter anyway. I can't imagine anyone using the red dot at really, really long ranges, because how would you gauge for, elevation? So let's go ahead and let's try out, I've been skipping this one. So let's try the Chinese scope and the Russian scope and see what we get with this, so we can get on to our testing for sure. Alright, so here we got Chinese scope, and we're fine. And of course we want to know how the PKS-07 does, and then we're going to switch to the T5XI to actually do our measurements. This rifle has a lot of bullet drop. We already know that. This scaled the lowest on the wall at 350 meters stock. So I'm eager to see how we can improve it, especially since this rifle, I believe, will take a long barrel and a rangefinder. So we might be able to get some extra, oh, how about that, tunability out of this. Let's go ahead and switch to our scope we're going to be measuring with, which is the T5XI. I've kind of been starting the videos off the last few rifles with this scope test just to make sure. Now I believe we already have our mark on the wall. Our rifle is stock. Yes, we do. Let's go down to 350, which is where I've been testing from. Now, if you've missed this series, so far we have tested the L115A3, the Dragunov SVD, the MSR, the HTI, and the SR1. So this right here will put us just over halfway through the list. Once we do the G28, we will only have 5 rifles left to do. And of course, I'm combining all these graphics on the screen, and you'll see what I mean here shortly if you haven't already seen these videos. We're going to take a baseline shot stock, just to make sure that, you know, we're getting what we expect to get. So let's go ahead and get this centered. There we go. Let's see where that hit. This rifle does hit quite a bit lower than the other ones. Just make sure we kind of hit in the same place. It should be pretty low. It should be like, and this is the problem, it should be like down below the grass actually. Oh, I see it. I see it, guys. Right there, right at the bottom of the second row of bricks. And yes, I just referred to the chart, and that is exactly where we were hitting stock. Now that's pretty far, considering some of these rifle stock are actually hitting like up here, and that's the purpose, you know, behind all these tests. Let's see how much we can improve that. Let me go ahead and put on screen now the original graphic. Here's where all the rifles were hitting stock, so you can see that we did hit exactly with the G28 where we did, you know, before, and you can see how much improvement this needs, and that I hope we can find in modifying it. So let's go ahead. Now we know simply from prior testing that the only things that are going to improve the bullet drop is going to be a longer barrel and a rangefinder. So let's see what we can do with those. We have tested suppressor, because I get that comment sometimes. Suppressor did not affect our bullet drop. The suppressor only affected the time it takes the bullet to travel to the target. And basically, to sum that up, it was in one of my previous videos in this series, the suppressor slowed down the bullet about a half to a third. So there's that for you. Let's try our long barrel. Now this, from my experience, should move us up 2 bricks on that wall. Now, what does this matter? Measuring in bricks? You know, I mean, what does 2 bricks mean? Well, really nothing. It's just all what you take from it. This is for curiosity purposes only, really, to see what rifle has the more or less drop. And the wall we're measuring it on has these bricks, right? So, we got the long barrel. We're at 350 meters. Let's let my breath settle back down and fire. Alright. That should have moved us up 2 bricks on the wall. Okay, so that put us, so here's the first row, second, third. Yep, that put us right at the bottom of the 4th row of bricks. That's right where I thought it would be, and that puts us with a lot of the other rifles stock, if I recall. Don't quote me on that, but I recall that should put us, and that's with the long barrel, and this will be added to the graphic, the compilation graphic at the end. So that's pretty decent. Now, with the rangefinder, we might be able to actually climb up another brick. Let's find out. Let's see what we can do with that. So let's go ahead to parts and put that rangefinder on. I'm totally open to try some of these others as well. I'm only hesitant to do that sometimes because it's going to increase the length of the video, and I try to get through these as fast as I can, but these usually end up being over 10 minutes as it is just to test one rifle. Right. So with the long barrel and a rangefinder, it moved us up just under a brick, right to the bottom of that 5th row of bricks from the bottom. So you could say more or less, you know, it looks like so far every rifle that we've put a long barrel on has improved it by 2 bricks, and the rangefinders do seem to have a common theme of moving it up 1 brick. So it looks like a rangefinder is generally going to give you half the improvement that a long barrel would. Let's go ahead, and I know a way to test that. Let's take the barrel off and run just the rangefinder. This should put us, remember stock, it was the bottom of the 2nd row of bricks. So if I put a rangefinder on from stock, it should just move us up 1 brick, and we can kind of confirm that a rangefinder is going to move you up half as much, or I should say reduce your bullet drop half as much as the barrel does, if you follow me there. So let's go back to our standard barrel. And let's take our shot. So we're running just the rangefinder now. Alright, so it should put us... it's kind of hard to tell now. We got so many damn holes on this wall. right there. Because our stock shot was down here, right? The barrel moved us up 2 bricks, so that's the long barrel hole. That's the rangefinder hole. So yeah, just the rangefinder moved us up exactly 1 brick. That's exactly what I expected to see, what I wanted to see. Now, as long as we're here, we got this rifle. And for those of you who maybe don't follow, with the G28 scope, let's go ahead and throw that on here. Let's throw that G28 scope on. And there you can see... That's funny because I've seen a difference much more than that from previous rifles. But you see, because all I did was mount that scope and we shot half a brick higher. Now, when I was testing the L115A3, and this could have to do with the different scaling of the mil dots on the scope UI, with the L115A3, and I deleted this video because I derived an incorrect conclusion from it, the G28 scope moved it up 2 entire bricks with that particular rifle. So I'm actually kind of glad I did this. It looks like it moved us up, but it looks like it is going to be different with different rifles, and that's going to probably, I would guess, have to do with the mil dot scaling on the UI. I could be wrong, but either way, the point is the scope appears to give less bullet drop, even though it doesn't, and that's because the bullet shoots over the crosshair. We already know that. I just wanted to demonstrate that one more time. Okay, so we've been toying with the G28. Let's see what else we could possibly do. Magazine's not going to affect it. There's no way this would affect it, but we'll try an underbarrel because I don't think we've done a sniper rifle yet that could have an underbarrel attachment. So, yeah, let's try that out. We know the muzzle won't. Let's try us. I usually I would guess, this would be the go-to for this rifle, right? Because this is one sniper rifle that doesn't already start off with max accuracy. And if anything, put underbarrel would affect bullet drop, which I don't see how it possibly could. If anything did, it would be something that increases accuracy, right? I mean, logic would propose. So let's go ahead and let's do the shift short. I always say it backwards, angle grip. And let's see if this does anything. I highly doubt that it will. Oh, let's put our scope back on. Because, just for consistency, we are measuring everything with the T5XI scope because it's dead on. There we go. And it's probably the choice of most snipers in this game. I know people have their preferences, though. I should have hit right at the bottom of the 5th brick. When I say 5th brick, I mean I'm counting from the bottom. Okay, so I actually cut the film there for a minute because I couldn't find it conclusively, so I shot again. I did a few more runs up and down the runway to make sure, and sure enough, as you can see right there, it overlapped right over. So no, the underbarrel attachment did not count for anything at all. So with the long barrel and the rangefinder, this rifle is hitting here. This is the least amount of bullet drop we get from the top of this wall, which is 350 meters. So let's go ahead and on screen now, let's put up the combined graphic. This is the combined graphic of all the rifles that we've modified. Now, to save space on here, I'm only putting the G28 unmodded and modded. Though you saw the difference, we know that the barrel will modify the bullet drop twice as much as the rangefinder, so take that into consideration. And that's where we hit on the wall, and that's compared to the other rifles. Now, one question I want to answer for some of you have been watching the series and probably heard me say already, but I'm going to go ahead and put this out there one more time because I've had a lot of people ask me, why am I not using a friend to do this? Wouldn't it save time running up and down the runway? Of course, I have switched to using the drone. And let me answer you that real quick because this might be some useful info for you also if you didn't know. I have tried target practicing similar to this with a friend, and we noticed after a few shots, we noticed that we got in this, it wasn't an argument, but I was seeing bullet holes he wasn't seeing, and we couldn't get it straightened out until we actually traded screenshots over PSN. I messaged him my screenshot, he messaged me his, and that's when we saw the bullet holes were appearing differently. And that was causing us to see different bullet holes, and hence our misunderstanding that we had. So, just to put that out there, I don't test with other people because I rely on accuracy, and I mean this is all for nothing if these bullet holes and the results aren't accurate. And just because one time, with a friend, our screenshots didn't match, who's to say that doesn't happen every time? Who's to say there's the accuracy? So I don't trust that is why, if you guys wanted to know. Also, I simply don't mind the time it takes to do this, so I'm not too worried about saving 5 minutes having someone else here. It's not a big it's really not a big deal, guys. All right, so that's the conclusions from the G28. Now, I don't fully right now realize the results of the data, not until I'm in editing and I post that thing on there. So hopefully it was decent improvement. It looked like a pretty decent improvement. It puts it up there with the other rifles. Bullet drop really, though, in the end is just how much you're adjusting your scope. The preference for the rifle will still trump everything. Those who like the G28 will still continue to use it, even though it has so much bullet drop. And, you know, that's the way that I see it. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed the video. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you like the video, don't forget to hit that like button. And if you're not subscribed already, then go ahead and subscribe to the channel. I'm posting new stuff every day. Ghost Recon Wildlands, and I'm working in some Sniper Ghost Warrior 3. I want to get back to that here pretty quick, you know. Trying to do a lot of cool, fun stuff for you all. And of course, I listen to what you guys see and what you guys want and what you guys say. I think that's what I meant to say. I listen to what you guys say and what you think and what you want to see. And all my subscribers know that. So keep that in mind, guys. All right. It's been a pleasure. And until next time, guys, my name is Dark Dahlia, and I will catch you all later.